So hello friends, in the subject of engineering thermodynamics, today we are going to see proximate analysis of a coal. Now what is coal? Coal is nothing but that is primary fuel source of energy. So whatever with the power plants are there, so majority of power plants are depend on coal, thermal power plants. So coal is a fuel and we are going to check out what is that proximate analysis. So fuel, in general, what is a fuel? So fuel can be any substance which on burning release a heat. Many times, not only heat, which can illuminate also. That means release heat as well as light. So fuel may be any substance, but that substance on burning or combustion, it must have the property to release heat as well as light. Now, what is meaning by a combustion? Combustion, that means a burning process. So combustion is nothing but, or burning is nothing but simply a chemical process. And this chemical process takes place in presence of oxygen. So it is a chemical process between combustible things. It may be any fuel. So combustible matter and oxygen, there is a chemical process. During this chemical process, exothermic reaction take place and we get a heat evolved, and along with heat we observe there is a light. So combustion is nothing but a chemical process which evolved light and heat. But majority, we never use combustion process for the sake of light. We use it for the sake of heat. Now there are variety of fuels, just like a solid fuels, coal. You can say a coal or wood, that is considered as a solid fuel. Second is a liquid fuel, natural oils, diesel, petrol, kerosene. All these are the liquid fuels. And last one is the gaseous fuel. So on the basis of physical state, we can categorize in these three categories: solid fuel, liquid fuel and gaseous fuel. Now it is the reaction of substance with oxygen and convert chemical energy into the heat and light. Now when we said we are burning a fuel, so where the energy stored? So energy is stored in the form of chemical composition, and when we burn it during combustion, so that chemical composition, chemical reaction take place, and we say that those reaction are exothermic, so we obtain a heat by burning of that particular fuel. So in a general way, we can say fuel plus oxygen we get heat, but heat is not along only the outcome. There is some product of combustion. Product of combustion, that means some smoke is there. That smoke having CO2 gas, CO gas, N2 gas, sulfur dioxide gas. So there are a combination of this. Along with that, there is soot particle, burn particles, carbon particles are there. So all these are the product of combustions. Okay, now the characteristic of a good fuel. So it should be a moderate ignition temperature. So your coal will not burn very easily. So we can avoid a fire hazards, and it should not have a very high ignition temperature. So your coal will not be burn easily and we face a starting fire problems. So our coal must have moderate ignition temperature. There are variety of coals, low grade coal, high grade coals. So in this, the coal which having a moderate ignition temperature is prefer for any boiler or any power plant. Second, high specific heat. So any coal which having a high density of heat release rate, that is called high specific heat. So that coal is preferred because per unit mass of that coal, we get a larger amount of heat. Then low ash content. So ash content, ash is the nothing but a just residual after burning of coal, whatever be the non-productive residual, that is called ash, and it is really very harmful for soil also because it degrades the productivity of soil. So we must have as low as possible that this ash content, okay, because it is directly affect that calorific value of fuel. So if higher ash content is there in your coal, so you get a lower calorific value of that particular fuel. Next, as the picture shows, so the fuel which emit a larger amount of smoke, definitely we will not prefer that. Correct? So another characteristic of a good fuel is it must have low smoke. And smoke is not only the black smoke, it may have some harmful gases also. So we should avoid such fuel which emit a harmful exhaust smoke. Next, the good characteristic of fuel. Nowadays we are suffering from this fuel price which crosses 100. So a good fuel is said that which having a cheap, which is available at low cost, inexpensive. That is also one characteristic of a fuel. And last one, it should have store and transport, easy store and transport capability. That means suppose I am storing a petrol at my home, so it is not that much safe, correct? So the fuel should be having easy to store and easy to transport. So coal can most probably we transport by these coal bogies which are open because it is not easily catch the fire, correct? So storing is easy, transportation is easy, but whether if you want to transport any nuclear fuel, so its storage is difficult because we require that much safety precaution to take care to store that nuclear fuel. Transportation, we can't transport through that public transport. So your fuel should be have easiness to store as well as transport. Now we will come to our main topic, that is proximate analysis of coal. Many times we heard that approximate. So similar kind of sense is there, the proximate analysis. Proximate analysis, it gives us the practically how much amount of coal is required for any suppose boiler plant is there. So proximate analysis gives practical approach, how much amount of coal is required to generate this much steam, to generate this much heat. The data varies with the procedure adopted and hence it is called proximate analysis. So why it is said, suppose there are two students who is going to calculate by adopting any procedure. So if one student adopting a different procedure, so he get the different proximate analysis. The value will be different. Another student using a proximate analysis but adopting the separate second procedure, then his answer will be different. Even though you are using the same coal, but you adopting different procedures, so your final answer analysis will be different. So this is called a proximate analysis. So its values get vary and it is depend on the procedure adopted. It gives a practical knowledge or practical utility of coal. This analysis of coal used to determine the moisture, ash, volatile matter and fixed carbon content of the coal. So why we did this proximate analysis of coal? So only to find out what is the percentage of moisture in the coal, what is the percentage of ash in the coal, what is the percentage of volatile matter, and what is the percentage of that fixed carbon of your coal. So to determine only these points, we do this proximate analysis. Now, one by one, we will see how to find, how to determine the moisture content in the coal. Now, what is the moisture? Moisture is, in a simple word, we can say it is nothing but a water particles. Correct? So in rainy season, if any coal is kept outside, so we observe that that coal get wetted due to moisture. And if you weigh it, check the weight, so it having a additional weight of that moisture. And if you try to burn that coal, so it will not catch the fire easily because moisture content is very much. So it extinguish your fire. So it is not catch the fire easily, correct? So how to calculate what is the content of that moisture in your coal? So first, whatever be the coal is there, and most probably that coal kept in open air, so it get air dried coal, correct? So we will take one sample from that air dried coal. Known sample, remember, known sample. Suppose I took a 1 kg of coal, and that known sample I heated to 105 to 110 degrees centigrade temperature. But how I am heating? I am heating in a closed electric hot air oven for 1 hour. So known of air dried coal kept in electric hot air oven, rise its temperature to 105 to 110 degrees centigrade and for 1 hour. So such kind of ovens are there, electric hot air ovens. We set the temperature, we set the timer, and then after we kept our known sample inside it and switch on it. After 1 hour, whatever be the moisture inside that coal get vaporized, it get removed out, and the coal after 1 hour we are not kept outside, because when that coal get cooled down, so there is a possibility that surrounding air, water vapors again get attracted, adhere, and it get condensed, and moisture content again rises. So we use desiccator. Desiccator, it is just a vacuum jar where moisture, outside moisture cannot be attacked on your sample. It avoid any kind of reaction during cooling. It is simply cooled down without any chemical reactions, without any addition of moisture. So after 1 hour, we remove out that coal from oven, kept in a desiccator, and allow it to cool down to its original initial normal temperature. Then after, we check its loss in weight. Now how to check the loss in weight? So we know what is the initial weight of that coal. After this whole process, again we will calculate its weight and we will find the difference. So that difference is due to the removal of moisture. So that is called loss in weight of a coal sample, or you can, in other way, you can say that the weight of moisture removed. So percentage of moisture is weight of moisture removed. But we are not calculating moisture, we are calculating the weight of that coal sample. So we can say loss in weight of coal sample divided by original weight of coal sample multiplied by 100. So this gives the exact weight of moisture removed out during this process. So in this way, we can find out how much is the moisture contained in a coal. Next, the significance. Significance, remember, significance is not an advantageous point or it not a disadvantageous point. Significance is the importance. What is the importance if you know what is the moisture contained in the coal? So having a knowledge about the moisture content, what it signifies, what is the importance of that knowledge? So excess of moisture in a coal is undesirable. Correct? If there is heavy moisture in a coal, so it is undesirable. Why? Because there will be excess weight during transportation. It will affect, heavy weight will be there. Excess moisture, so it will reduce your calorific value. It will delay the fire catch point. It will reduce your ignition temperature. Correct. So excess of moisture in a coal is not favorable. It is undesirable. Next, moisture lower the heating value. Heating value, that means whatever be the coal burn, after that burning, how much heat is we received, that is called heating value. So if there is a moisture, so moisture reduce that heating value. Why? Because most of the heat is first utilized to remove that moisture. How moisture is removed? So first that moisture get heated, then vaporized, then it remove out from the coal, and then after your actual coal start burning. So moisture lower the heating value. Next, excessive moisture may cause difficulty in handling the coal. So during transportation, during storage, we found that it is become a very bulky, that is heavy. So it produces the difficulty. Then presence of excessive moisture quenches the fire in the furnace. So if you directly use that heavy moisture coal feed to the fire, that is furnace. So as soon as it enter to the furnace, due to its moisture content, it is pinches. Your fire get extinguished. So that effect we observe if there is a. Okay, so petrol get burned, but in the form of vapor, not in the form of liquid. So when he pour that petrol, so it get easily vaporized, and as soon as it start the ignition, so that vapor get burned suddenly. If we use a diesel, then there will be no such impact because diesel is not easily vaporized. So what is volatile matter in a coal? So it consists of a complex mixture of gaseous and liquid products resulting from the thermal decomposition of the coal. So coal itself having some volatile matter in the form of gaseous or in the form of liquid content, just like a moisture. So moisture is inside a coal in the same form. Some product in the form of liquid is inside the coal. When it get heated, it start decomposition, and that moisture, that liquid product or gaseous product start evolving. It start remove out from the coal, and that having a very high fire catching ability. So instantly it will get catch the fire. So that is volatile matter. This is a furnace which is used during measuring the volatile matter. Now how it is measured? So in a previous stage we saw that how to remove the moisture. Correct? We preheat that coal, so it moisture get remove out and we get a dry coal, and we calculate how much is the percentage of moisture is there. Now that dry coal, moisture less coal is used in this volatile matter furnace. We kept in platinum crucible and heated for 950 degrees centigrade for a time of only 7 minutes. But don't allow the oxygen there, otherwise it will burn itself. We are not going to burn right now. We are just removing volatile matter may be in the form of gases, maybe in the form of liquid inside that coal. So we are heating that coal to 950 degrees centigrade in platinum crucible for 7 minutes in absence of oxygen. So if there is no oxygen, there will be no fire. But due to this much heating, what happened? Its volatile matter get vaporized, remove out from the coal. Then after, we again weigh that coal sample, and from the loss of weight due to volatile matter after this process, when we check out what is our initial weight before putting that coal inside the furnace, that is weight of moisture free coal sample. And after this process, what is the weight of that coal sample? So loss in weight due to volatile matter divided by weight of moisture free coal sample, that gives the percentage of volatile matter. Next, what is the significance of this volatile matter? So as I said, volatile matter is directly indicate the fuel burn, because actually that fumes get burned easily. So high percentage of volatile matter indicate that the large proportion of fuel is burned as a gas. As a coal, it will burn later on, but whatever with the volatile matter, whatever with the gas evolved, that burn very quickly. High volatile content give long flames, high smoke, and relatively low heating value. High volatile matter content is desirable in coal gas manufacture, because volatile matter is in a coal denote that the proportion of coal which will be converted into gas and tar product by heat. So if higher volatile coal is there, so it is preferred because it catch the fire easily, because as soon as we heat it, so its volatile matter start evolving and it will catch the fire. Due to that fire, your coal, actual coal also start burning. You get a higher flame. Then next is ash content. And as I said, ash content is not a desirable factor inside the coal. So we must prefer that coal which having a lowest ash content. So coal contain inorganic mineral substances which are converted into ash by chemical reaction during the combustion of coal. So remember how ash is produced or where that ash content is. So ash content is nothing but inorganic minerals which are available or which are in that coal. After burning, that inorganic minerals remain residual of combustion, that is a ash. Ash contains some part of silica, alumina, iron oxide, or small quantity of lime or magnesia. So all these are there in ash. So I am saying it reduces the productivity of soil. So any boiler plant which remove the ash, it is not disposed in any soil because it's going to pollute the soil. Now, how to calculate the ash content? Now, in first stage, we remove the moisture. In second stage, we remove the volatile matter. Now, in ash content, we are checking for the ash content. So, ash content is determined by heating the residue left after removal of volatile matter. So whatever be the coal sample we are taken for this ash content analysis, that coal sample already gone through the process of removal of moisture and removal of volatile matter. That coal of known mass, suppose 1 kg, after removal of volatile matter, 1 kg of coal, I take it and without covering, that means oxygen is there, without covering it, I heat it to 700 degrees centigrade temperature for 30 minutes. So no doubt it will get burned, and after burning, we saw there is some ash residuals are collected. So this much coal was there in a crucible. When I heat it in presence of air, so it get burned out, and after removal I found that this much amount is residual. So what is this residual? That is nothing but a ash content. So how to calculate ash content? So percentage of ash content is weight of residue left. So whatever with this residue left, we will weight it divided by weight of that coal sample. But this coal sample is after removal of volatile matter. So this gives ash content. If I take a coal with volatile matter, so that coal weight having a volatile matter weight as well as this ash content. So we have to choose that coal sample after removal of volatile matter. Now the last content of this coal, the last part of this approximate analysis, that is fixed carbon content in the coal. So actually when we said there is a burning, so burning is nothing but a chemical reaction between carbon and oxygen. When carbon get reacted with oxygen and become a C plus O2 as CO2, during this exothermic reaction we obtain a heat. So whatever be the carbon content in a fuel, if higher carbon content, we will definitely getting a higher heating value. So higher the percentage of fixed carbon content, higher will be the calorific value of the coal, and the better will be the quality of coal. Now coal formation, even though in science 11 and 12 we gone through this, how the coal is formed. Okay, so trees, all organic matters. Now how this organic matters, tree, plants get a energy stores? So due to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process where sun rays, sunlights get converted into chemical form, chemical energy, and store in the plant. And these plants when get decomposed or earthquake, so it get dumped in a soil for a long time, thousands of years under the high pressure. Then it's start the process to get convert towards coal. So first it get convert to peat, then lignite, then sub-bituminous, then bituminous and anthracitic. This anthracitic coal is the highest quality coal. It having the highest, you can say, a calorific value, heat content. So coal actually started from this lignite to anthracite, but the quality of coal will be increased toward this, and it takes thousands of years and lot of pressures. So it is not possible that today you are going to produce the coal and itself in this 10 or 15 or 100 year you will obtain a coal from that organic material. It is not possible. So fixed carbon content. How to calculate fixed carbon content? So in proximate analysis, we are not calculating the carbon content directly. We are taking a difference. So suppose each and every proximate analysis, I am taking a 1 kg of weight of our coal. So that is 100. So 100% minus percentage of moisture plus percentage of volatile matter plus percentage of ash content. So if I minus this all percentage from total coal sample percent, that is considered as 100%. So whatever be the percentage remains, that is nothing but a percentage of fixed carbon. So in terms of kg, suppose in terms of kg I am talking, suppose I am taking a 1 kg of coal, moisture content is suppose 0.2, volatile matter is suppose 0.3, and ash content suppose 0.2. So addition of 0.2, 0.3, 0.2, so it is 0.7. So 1 kg minus 0.7 kg. So my actual percentage of fixed carbon is 0.3 kg. So this is proximate analysis in which we focus only to calculate percentage of moisture, percentage of volatile matter, percentage of ash content, and percentage of fixed carbon.